Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, Senior News Editor with Retail Insider. Joining me today is Lisa Amlani, who is Principal and Founder of Retail Strategy Group and Co-Founder of The Merchant Life. Thanks for joining us today, Lisa.
My pleasure, Mario. I love talking to you.
Thank you. Lots to talk about. Yeah, last week was a big week in terms of retail news and real estate news. We had Bed Bath and Beyond leases and Bye Bye Baby leases scooped up by Canadian Tire for Marks and for Pro Hockey Life,
Mhm.
and a new concept that's coming out in home decor called Brooms Plus spaces. Tell me why that real estate do you think was attractive to both those retailers?
Well, I think, it's what attracts most of us to real estate. It's a great price. I think that both parties really got it got a great deal. And I think that was critical for, them moving forward in these deals.
Hmm. Now, when you look across the country, is there, over the last few years, we've had, Target's departure, we've had Sears departure. Those spaces have seemed to be eaten up now. Is there a lack of big box space in the country?
I don't think so. I think that from everything I've read within that space is that it's still growing. So I think that the outdoor retail space is very attractive to retailers. More often than not, we're seeing a disconnect between footfall in store and online. As you know, it's not very consistent, but we know that physical retail is not dead, nowhere near dead. So the outdoor space is very attractive to retailers because that's where consumers want to shop. And as you know, it's all about meeting consumers how and where they want to engage with a brand.
So when you look at, obviously the next big space coming up is Nordstrom. What do you think is going to happen with their stores across the country?
I mean, I'll tell you what I want to happen. I know that, there's a lot of rumors about Simons, Le Maison Simons, taking some of the space. I do believe that some of those spaces, like Yorkdale, might be too big. Eaton Center, I think that maybe broken up, and maybe Simons will take some of it. I mean, this is something that a lot of us analysts are thinking about. But what I would love to see is the concept that we see in like Westfield in the UK, for example, where there are certain sections of the mall that are luxury. And you see that in Yorkdale, of course. But I think that there's a way to do it so that it's more concentrated, possibly have the flexibility of shorter term leases so we can test out what the customer finds relevant and what they want to see in those spaces. And I do think that there's an opportunity to talk to the customer. As we know, the customer is ever evolving and there's new generations shopping more physical. So I think that there's an opportunity to engage in this space in possibly more experiential retail and definitely shorter term leases. So I'd like to see that happen. I mean, especially in the Eaton Center space, I think that would be very interesting to see as the downtown core still is, let's say, changing for the better.
So what about, I know a lot of especially the Sears boxes were chopped up in a lot of malls across the country. What are the advantages of doing that for shopping centers?
Well, I think it makes for a better shopping experience because what we do know is that the department store is definitely changing. The purpose of the department store is changing. We're no longer looking at department stores as anchor stores that are holding a mall together because that's not what is driving footfall in the mall anymore. It's the interesting retailers. It is the hottest brands, Canada Goose, Moose Knuckles, OVO is still driving, footfall within Yorkdale and Eaton Center. And so is the Apple Store. So I think these are things that we can't dismiss. But what I do think is that we need to still continue to be as customer centric as possible and evolve and understand what does the customer want to see from the shopping center.
Mhm.
And as the customer evolves, like I said, not only does the retailer and brand need to evolve, but so does the space in which they live.
Let's talk and come back to some of the leases that were acquired recently from Bed Bath and Beyond and Bye Bye Baby. So serial entrepreneur Doug Putman
Yes.
has come up with this new home decor concept, the Brooms Plus space, as it's called.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that, first of all?
Well, when I first heard of this, I was skeptical, thought that maybe, there may not be a space for this type of store within the market. What I do think is interesting here is that there is an opportunity to do something different.
Mm.
What we know is that, TJX is very successful with HomeSense and their home decor product within, of course, Marshalls and Winners. So I think that that is where we can really see some evolution within the home space. So a lot more turn, a lot more relevant inventory, but things that are more interesting. And I think that's why HomeSense does so well. That's why Off Price does well, really, because they have this treasure hunt that a lot of customers can go on. And I mean, I am one. I go weekly and I love it. I love the newness. But what I will say is that there are a lot of home and home decor stores in the same retail locations as, the old Bed Bath and Beyonds. So if we think about some of those stores, we have Bouclair, we have Kitchen Stuff Plus, we have furniture stores like Urban Barn, which does very well. Struck Tube is another one. And then, of course, they're next to either Loblaw Supercenters, which of course has furniture with PC Home and home decor under PC. So I think that there's a lot of, there is space in the market, but we have to just find the gaps within the market. So what is the customer not getting from these stores that have been around for a long time? And some of them are more successful than others. Yeah. So what is going to be the differentiator? What is going to be the wow factor? And I think that there is an opportunity here, and I'm excited to see what happens. The other thing I'll just say very quickly, as a former merchant of 20 something years, unless you work with an ultra fast fashion brand, going from concept to market or, buying product and bringing it into market takes a long time, unless you're one of those ultra fast fashion retailers, which, they can take 30 days to get to market, and in some cases shorter. So that will be very interesting to see, because this must have been in the works for some time, because they're planning to open stores this summer. So I'm curious to see, number one, what does the product assortment look like? How relevant that product assortment is, and if there's flexibility in that product assortment as we learn who the customer of this new wonderful brand is. Are they going to have the ability to capture insights and close that feedback loop so that we can always have a relevant assortment in those stores? So these are some of the things that, I've been thinking about.
Now, I would just wanted to ask as well, Lisa, that one of the things that we're seeing now more so, and it's been brought to light because the Zellers, is that shop in shop experience, the Bay, opening its doors, so to speak, and having Zellers in place there, and there's been other Petco with Canadian Tire. Do you see more of this going to take place in the coming years? And
absolutely. Just talking about Zellers alone, I would say that Zellers has been very smart. I was, again, skeptical with the Bay. I mean, I think a lot of us are, but what I will say is that the assortment almost feels like a Target 2.0. And when we go into a Target, as a Target customer, what we love from Target is their private label home decor. We love, their baby section. We love the stationery. We love the bath. And these are product assortment categories that Zellers has tapped into, with their partner out of Australia, that I think has done really, really well. And I would say that the price points are competitive. When I have been walking through the Zellers, and I'm so excited we're talking about this, because I haven't had a chance to talk to anyone about Zellers, is that customers, when I went on launch day in Calgary, in your town actually,
Yeah.
and what I found was that listening to customers, they were like, well, this is not nostalgic. This doesn't feel like the old Zellers. But I think that's exactly what they should be doing, because we need newness. We don't, nostalgia will only take you so far, as you know. In terms of retailers and brands partnering with other brands, I think it's smart, especially around pet and categories that are very attractive to the customer right now, that are relevant in terms of a product mix. I think this is where retailers can win.
Excellent. Well,
Did I
thanks.
answer the question, or did I go?
No, you certainly did.
That's great. I love it.
Well, appreciate you taking the time, Lisa, to talk about some the retail happenings of recent note. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Mario.
All right, that was Lisa Amlani, principal and founder of the Retail Strategy Group and co-founder of The Merchant Life. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, senior news editor with Retail Insider. Thanks for joining us today.